Good evening, everyone. Sorry if I look a bit flushed. I've just had a massively hot bath. It was hard to get in of. The date is the 5th of January, Monday, the 5th of January, 2026. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. And thank you, everybody who's made it tonight. I really, really appreciate that. 2026. Let's make it a good year. Let's make this a good year. I think there's one space, if I'm not mistaken, left on our retreat in Suffolk in February. Anybody interested, give us a shout, please. info@freedomthinking.co.uk. If there was a couple or something like that wanted to come, that could work as well. So yeah, let us know. That's in Suffolk. It's 4 days with Jen and myself in the most beautiful place. A few other people, hot tub, sauna, I believe. Quite close to the sea, we've got an old farm, which looks ace. So anybody interested, please give us a shout. Yeah, hopefully Jen will be joining me fairly soon. Can I hear Luce? Maybe I can hear Lucia. But Jen's just putting Lucia to bed and then she will be down. So no, thank you, everybody. This is a via donation event. Anybody who wishes to make a donation, please look in the description below, in the YouTube description. You'll see Buy Me a Coffee, you'll see PayPal. I think there's another one. Oh yeah, the other one's our email address if you wish to get in contact with us for our bank details. Some people just make a donation each month via the bank. That's cool. We love it. We love anything. We're just so grateful to everybody who donates. By the way, if you do donate, please can you pop your name on the donation just so we can say thank you. We've received a couple that have just got the word app. So thank you to whoever app is. Thank you so much for your donations. Hey, Louise. God bless, love. Yeah, just thank you to everybody who donates. Jen and I sincerely appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much. All right. Been tree surgery today, so tired. Let's go for it. All right. Somebody has left us a message with a topic that they wish that we could, if asked if we could speak to. And then there's a following thing that is actually pretty much the same. I'm going to read them both out. These come from two people. I'm going to read them both out and then we're going to have a conversation about them, see where we end up. Okay. In amongst your thoughts, it can be difficult to connect or hear the deeper part of yourself, your source, your wisdom, your higher self. How do you connect to that space? And the following one was, how do you access the space that is already there before and between each thought? Okay. I think when I read that, I hear the same question, which is cool. The problem with the word connect, I can connect. I'm just going to let Div in. Just going to let, before I make a start, then Div's here. Hi, Div, you've just arrived. So we're just pretty much just starting, mate. I'm just going to repeat the things that we're just going to talk about and then catch you up and then we're here. How are you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, thanks. Just woke up. Thanks.
Ah, good lad. God bless,
Sorry
man. Thanks
about
for
the
being
delay.
here. Oh, that's
Thanks.
cool. Appreciate you being here, man. So, in amongst your thoughts, it can be difficult to connect or hear the deeper part of your source. Wisdom, higher self um, was something that somebody has sent us and a message that we've been asked to speak to. And then basically, how do you connect to that space? How do you connect to that source space? And then another topic that was brought up was how do you access the space that is already there before and between each thought? which is in my mind, just saying, I think it's the same conversation. I think it's a cool conversation. So thank you both for that, for this topic. We really appreciate it. We like to keep this fresh, and we like to keep this relevant for people. So the best way we can do that is ask people to what they wish to talk to, so we can make this relevant for people who are on screen. And we know fine well that if it's relevant to you, it's going to be relevant to other people. And I love it because I get to see deeper. I get to experience like freshness and see what comes, and I get to learn, and I enjoy learning. That's why I love doing this group. So we're going to speak to that. How can we access or connect to that deeper part of ourselves? And I was just saying, and I've got a pen here, I'm not a massive fan of the word connect when it comes to this conversation. And the reason for that is because to connect suggests there could be disconnection. So take this pen, for example, I can disconnect the lid and make it separate from the pen. I can also reconnect it, which is in that question, how do we connect to the deeper part of our source wisdom, higher self? How do we access that? That's already there before thoughts. I think one of the most important things that we can start to understand is that, loose. First and foremost is that disconnection never once took place. Our disconnection from our source never once took place. Can you spare with me 1 second? I'm so sorry, Lucia sounds like she's really hurt herself. Can you give me just 1 minute, please? Sorry, everyone. All is good. Sorry about that. It's a horrific scream from upstairs. Sounded like she'd really hurt herself. Jen thinks she's so tired and she just doesn't want to go to sleep. Yep, done. Yeah. Disconnection never once took place. Separation never once took place. It's impossible. And I think when we start to understand that point, you cannot be disconnected. You cannot be disconnected from your source. If you were disconnected from source, you would cease to exist. And you don't cease to exist. We've never once ceased to exist. And I think that it can be really, really easy for us human beings to get tricked by our own mind into realities that don't really exist. Yeah, be glad. And one of those realities is the idea of what we think life should look like should we be connected to source. What would life look like if I was connected to source? How would life feel if I was connected to source? And I feel like that's perhaps the more to the point question that this individual is looking for. How do I feel connected to source? Well, feeling connected to source can feel like any feeling you experience. We create these concepts within our mind, and we think we have ideas of how it should look, how we should look, how we should be, how we should feel. And in that, we create this kind of division. Well, I'm not like that, but there must be this other state that I could be in right now, that I should be in if I was connected to my source. But like I say, disconnection never once took place. Separation never once took place. So understanding that, I feel like we can take that off our minds, that I need to find myself connected to source. I need to figure out how to connect to source. Really, what we are looking for, I feel like, when we ask that question is, how do I embody more love into the now? That would be a more appropriate question, I feel. How do we embody more love into the now? Because if an individual sat themselves in love, has found themselves in love, they are in more alignment, you could say, with the true state of the universe, source, whatever source is. Love, unity. But don't forget, unity is all that exists anyway. But this unity is an infinite thing. It has the infinite capacity to express itself in an infinite amount of ways. This reality right here, right now, this very moment right now is a potential from the infinite. The source. We never once got separated. We never once got disconnected. You can't be disconnected. It's impossible to be disconnected. That's like a wave saying, oh shit, fuck me, look at me. I'm floating around in this space all separate from the ocean. That never happens. But that's what we're asking when we ask that question. How can we reconnect with that space? We're assuming that disconnection took place. Impossible. That would be like a wave appearing on its own, a wave of water appearing of its own accord without an ocean or a body of water below it or of it. Just a wave just appearing here. Oceans are energy fields. They're physical energy fields. They behave like energy fields. They behave like non-physical energy fields. Sister pointed that out one day when we were kayaking. She just looked at me with massive awe in her eyes and she said, we're sat on an energy field. I was like, fuck me, you're right. We hadn't taken mushrooms, we hadn't been smoking weed. It was just one of those moments where I'm like, we are sat in a physical energy field. Got all these wave potentials appearing around us. That's why I love the ocean analogy. You can glean so much from the ocean analogy. You can see the purity of the source. It's all water. It can express itself in an infinite amount of wave patterns. Big waves, little waves, ripples, calm as you like. But never once did the character of the ocean, never once was it disconnected from the water. Never once was it disconnected from its source. The stillness between the waves is still water. It's the same thing, only it's expressing itself in a different way. So to find it, how do you find it? You never lost it. Don't mistake feelings, emotions for broken. Don't mistake feelings, emotions for malfunctioning. Don't mistake feelings, emotions for disconnection. None of those, my apologies, are true. They're not real. They're just concepts of the mind. They're waves of the ocean, of the mind, that we assume are true, more true than other waves. And this to me is one of the most wonderful realizations that anybody can ever experience in their life, when they realize the singularity of life. When they realize the singularity of existence and understand that source is all there is. We can only experience the divine experience of depression because of source. We can only experience the divine experience of anger because of source. We can only experience the divine experience of hurt because of source. They're all states of duality, but duality is born of source. There is no duality. There is only singularity. There is only dualistic thinking. It's only in duality can you have the separation. One, pen. Two, lid. Duality. There is only singularity. Universe, uni, one. Whole, already whole, always whole, never broken. Human. Spirit in form. Energy in form. Consciousness in form. Consciousness as form. Infinite being playing the game. Infinite being playing the game of limitation. Infinite source being playing the game of disconnection. Infinite being playing the game of separation. So how do you access the space? That's always there. I love that point. That was the point already, that was already spoken. How do you access the space that is already there? You never left it. How do you notice it? How do you notice it? First thing, you can't think your way to it. I've only really experienced that space truly a couple of times in my life. One of them was upon death. And the second one was when I woke up. You don't go anywhere. And I couldn't explain it. I don't understand it. It's not linear. It's not quantifiable with my intellect. It's not something I can condense into a thought. It was beyond comprehension. The space between thoughts is beyond comprehension. But isn't thought beyond comprehension? A thought. Really, what is it? See, one thing that I heard somebody talking about the transhuman agenda, where there are certain people on this planet who are hoping to meld human beings with technology. And he said, I'm really scared at this point for humanity. I'm not scared for humanity. He said, I'm really scared at this point for humanity because we're going to give away our humanity to a digital synthesized version of ourselves without even understanding who and what we actually were. I totally agreed with him. Some people might do that, yeah. But I feel like with this conversation, people are more often not trying to escape the human experience. I want to escape it. I want more. I want to have more. But I want to ask the question, have we discovered who and what we are yet? In order that we actually want more? Have we discovered what it is to be human? Have we discovered what it is to think? Anything? What does it mean? What is the human? What is life? What is life itself that we ask for more? What is this capacity to create reality because we are source being? Experience. Because we are source being, isn't experience a miracle? Isn't the fact we get to experience at all a miracle? Isn't all the suffering we get to experience ultimately a fucking miracle? Is it not the most mind-blowing thing that we get to be here and have this, what we experience, to be a mundane experience? I see Louise, God bless her, working away in the kitchen as she always is, doing her work, cooking. Everyday things that we take for granted, everyday little chores that we don't notice, the absolute magnitude and respect the truth of the fact that it's a fucking inexplicable event. People are trying to change life without understanding what life is, without realizing the magnitude of life itself. I was speaking to a girl the other day. I've had 3 calls with her now. Last 2 times I've asked her, I said, "Come on, what have you got from this call, these calls?" And last time I asked her that, she said, "I friggin' loved it." She's beautiful. She's only 18. She's just a stunning human being. Standing human being. And she said to me, "Well, I used to think life was something that happened to me. Now I've come to realize I'm something that's happening to life." I used to think life was something that was happening to me. Now I've realized I'm something that is happening to life. Life, the fundamental force of existence. It's only because of it we actually get to exist. This existence that we call our existence is life's experience. Whatever life is, it's God. Whatever God is, whatever source is, whatever the deeper part of our self is, not that there is such a thing as a shallow aspect. Shallow and deep would be dualistic conversation, dualistic speaking, dualistic thought. It's all perfect. And I know many people get so pissed off when they hear me say that, but it is. You take away judgment. You remove judgment from your experience of life, and what are you left with? You take away the polarity, you take away the duality, you take away the polarity of right, wrong, good, bad. What ultimately are you left with? Just this. Whatever this is. And this can be seen from an infinite amount of perspectives. We can look at this and go, this is fucking boring. Shan't come. What's Dave prattling on about now? Or we could look at it from the point of view, maybe Dave talking a bit of sense, who knows? Maybe you're not listening. Maybe you've switched off, drifted off. And some other thought creation. It's in our divided mind that our suffering emerges. It's one of the things Jesus spoke about in the book of Thomas. I can't remember the exact quote. He said something about when one is divided, paraphrasing, the suffering. What is divided when people live in the yes, no, right, wrong, the binary way of thinking, digitized thinking, if you like, on, off, ones and zeros, binary. Yes, no, true, false, right, wrong. Waves. Waves just flow. They don't overthink it. There's just waves. And what if that is the same for thoughts? What if the thoughts that we dread the most, that we hate the most, that we think are the most horrific things, that we create our character out of, that we identify with, what if they're just the same as everything else? What if they are an expression of source? Even if you're the most devout, religious human being, and you would go, no, some thoughts are the work of the devil. Be careful, don't create two gods. We're back to dualistic thinking again. Even the devil was a fallen angel, a creation of God, a being of love. Lucy, Lucifer, light. The mind creates concepts that we then chase. The concept is a thought, and we chase it, thinking that somehow it holds the truth, that thought holds the truth. No, that thought doesn't hold the truth. It's an expression of source. It's an expression of you. It's an aspect of your infinite being. It's neither right nor wrong. It's neither true nor false. All realities are real. All realities are illusion. The fella really fall out with me over that one. How real does reality actually have to be before we say it's real? This experience is a real reality. But I know my experience isn't everybody's reality, so therefore it can't be the truth. Truth must be fundamental. Truth must be before, not in time, not in space. Perhaps a more accurate way to say it would be truth is just where it all emerges from. Learn to notice concepts. How do you know it's a concept? You think in it. cannot think source. You can create images such as oceans and stuff like that. Can't think it. Source is creator. Everything you think is creation. It's energy taken form in the form of an image or a sentence. Energy can take form into anything. Source can take form into anything. It's infinite. But that is who you are. Like the wave never once left the ocean. We were never once disconnected from source. We just thought we were. We were never once disconnected from that space between thoughts. It's impossible. You couldn't exist. What a miracle. What kind of phenomenal being gets to play the game that sometimes they're disconnected from source. What kind of phenomenal creator gets to play that game? What kind of phenomenal master of illusion are we? If there's one thing that one of the things that when my life changed for me, that was the most beautiful thing. It wasn't that I always spent my whole life in love and total abundance. It was that I was no longer afraid to feel my feelings. I was no longer afraid to have a shit time, to have a hard time of it. There was nothing to fix. There's nothing to fix. Like if it's funny because people, if I'm having a hard time and I tell someone, oh, I'm fucking having a bit of a shit day, amount of people who just want to say to me, you do know it's just a thought. I don't use that on people. And they have this big grin on their face like, you fucking wanker. They're like, you fucking wanker. Look at you. All the shit you talk about. And you're having a shit day. Yeah. Sometimes. I'm human. I'm a spiritual event that has this phenomenal capacity to create such dualistic imagery and experience. I can do that. I'm a miracle. I'm a gift. I'm the most miraculous event in the universe. Just like everyone else. I was always whole. I didn't know that. I was never broken. I didn't know that. I was a creator being. I didn't know that. I'm a source being. I didn't know that. I do now. So therefore, everything I create and experience is the same thing in a different disguise, like different size and shape waves on an ocean. It's all water, all the same thing. And everybody's always whole. Don't believe me. Don't believe a single word I'm saying, please. Don't do that. Don't even trust me. Be fucking skeptical. Be skeptical of everything that I'm saying. Listen to yourself. Lou.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, what about drug dealers, for example? I mean, everything you say, so this innocence, it's a bit hard for me to see it right now about drug dealers.
Okay.
Can you say something about it?
Yeah.
I mean, well, then I start to think like righteous, like they're destroying the society, the children's lives, and I don't know, such things.
Yeah. Say about anything, can't you? What about those who create war? What about those who kill other people? I heard the most horrific thing about, I don't even want to say it, but about Westerners in a certain war-torn country. That really made me realize that human beings can stoop to some seriously horrific things. But yes, even them. A human being that acts in a purely selfish way is a human being that is trying to feel better. They don't know it, but they're seeking peace. Those that are in power who hold the control levers over war that the rest of us have to finance with our taxes, otherwise we go to prison. Genocide, cruelty, the advancement in weapons, advancement in phenomenal ways to destroy other human beings, genetic weapons that would only take out certain bloodlines and genetic lines, races. Fuck me. We do that. Yeah, even them, even those minds. But those minds are the most dualistic minds. Those waves are the ones most lost in duality. Those waves are the ones who are so unaware of their source being. They're so unaware of love that they would do that to other people. They would do it for money. They would do it for power. They would do it to be able to tell people. Yeah, human beings do some fucked up shit. It's no, it's not new news that. But it's the same power being used, same force being used in a different way as the individual who's creating new healthy hospitals, who are devising new methods in which to help people. It's still the power of thought. When Oppenheimer invented the nuclear weapon and said, I've become the destroyer of worlds. Well, friggin' done, big lad. Wonderful. That same force in action was creating an orphanage in Nepal. Was loving these little children. Who lost their parents to whatever. It's the same force in action. The darkness is not outside of ourselves. The darkness is within inside ourselves. And darkness isn't a thing. It's duality. It's dualistic thinking. It's two sources. That over there, creating my feelings, and how I think about it. Well, there's me, and there's that over there. That makes me feel bad. Duality. That makes me angry. Duality. That makes me afraid. So that person over there, they've got more money than me. I once worked with a man who's so upset that he was only in the second percentile of wealth on the planet. He was distraught at the fact he was only in the 2 percentile of wealth on the planet. He wasn't in the top 1% of wealth on the planet. We can suffer anything. But the thing is about this reality, Louise, is it's so convincingly real. It looks so convincingly real. People don't know. People don't know their source. People don't know they're creating their own experience of life. They don't know the reality they encounter is the magical display of their own consciousness. As Theodore Nottingham once said. Reality is the magical display of our own consciousness. I love that. Perfect. The reality we encounter on a moment-to-moment basis, the magical display of our own consciousness. People don't know. They think they're merely observers, like the girl who I spoke of before. Oh, life happens to me. Life's continuously happening to me. Not I am life itself. Oh no, life's not happening to me, it's happening through me. Life isn't happening to me, it's happening because of me. One's victimhood, one's power, one's false, one's true. It doesn't mean things aren't going on around us. Of course they are. We know that. It's a dynamic world, this. But that's not what you experience. The only thing we ever experience is ourself. Right? The only thing we ever experience is the magical display of our own consciousness. What do you think?
I agree entirely.
Well done. So, does anybody else want to say anything? If you do, have a think. I'm just going to read Jen what we've been speaking to tonight. In amongst your thoughts, it can be difficult to connect or hear the deeper part of yourself, source, wisdom, the higher self. I get that.
Mm.
And then the next question was, how do you access this? But this is somebody else. How do you access the space that is already there before and between each thought? which feels like the same question to me, does it to you?
Yeah.
Julio. Does anybody want to say anything before we unleash Jenny? Lou, how were you sitting with what we just spoke about just then?
I was distracted.
You're cooking.
Yeah, but I have some periods or sometimes where I see their everyone's innocence, and sometimes it's like fuck off or something like that. But what I heard about that they're just seeking peace, or I love it. So I don't feel so much judgmental when I just see it as, yeah, as other human beings that just are seeking peace. So
Yeah.
it was nice to hear.
If you look closely, just look at your own life. You can learn a lot about other people just by looking at yourself. Okay, we're really not all that different. Why do I do this group? I do it for enjoyment. I do it for fulfillment. I enjoy helping people. I love it when somebody wakes up. I do this because I enjoy it. Okay, and in my enjoyment, I feel that's a beautiful feeling. So everything I do is in search of a feeling, is it not? Isn't that the same for everybody else? Why does the addict do the addiction? Because they feel like when they do it, they will feel some relief. One description of, oh, fucking hell, I really need a cigarette. Why don't you pull out the fag? Brilliant. Light it. By the way, a fag in the UK is a cigarette. Don't get all upset. Anything. It's like, look at your life. Why do we do what we do? We're looking for feelings. Why are we having the food we're having tonight? More can't be asked to cook. All right, so you having fast food, that's you looking for the feeling of, oh, thank God I don't have to cook, relief, peace. Or if you're having the most beautiful meal, it's because you're looking for the experience. You want to have that wonderful experience. Isn't everything we do in search of gratification and happiness and joy? There's nothing wrong with that, unless you're hurting other people in the process. But on the whole, there's nothing wrong with that. Jesus was asked the question, how do you best serve God? How do you best serve source, that deeper aspect of ourself? Do I give alms to the church? No, you just do that you enjoy. That's how you best serve God. Do what you enjoy. That's how you best serve yourself. So everybody is just trying to feel better. Everybody's just trying to feel good. But most people haven't looked very, very simply and closely. I remember saying to my nephew, where does happiness come from? He went, the beach, sunny days. He's going, money. I said, does it? Does it really? Within 5 minutes, he was going, what? It comes from you. Correct. Happiness, peace, joy, fulfillment comes from you. It comes from within you. Okay, where does suffering come from then, Arch? You. Me? No. Inside. You see, when you put together that simple equation, you start to get a sense of what the mystics were talking about when they're saying, stop looking outside, start looking inside. You'll find something that, oh God, you've got everything you need. Everything you ever want is within you. All the joy, all the peace, all the fulfillment, all the contentment, all the wisdom, all the awe for life. Well, that's already within you. We just have to notice. It was never taken away from us. It was never separate. It was never disconnected. It was always there. It's an eternal presence. However, our realities are created from our perspectives. And if our perspective is one that is creating, that we're creating, that it is something other than that it is something other than inside of ourselves, then we will experience that as our reality and we'll assume it's true. That's the nature of the magical display of our own consciousness. So,
Not really to that, actually. Nothing's coming up.
Cool.
If there's any other questions or different direction.
yeah, we can have a change of tack if anybody wants. How are people sitting with that? Just out of interest. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up, Dave.
Cheers, big lad.
I think obviously over time you spoke about the ocean analogy, metaphor, and other people do as well. And I think I suppose what I've seen, I think from experience is it is more than just it comes and goes. It can't I can't see that. I can't remember who I was listening to, but it was something about that everything arises within consciousness. So like a whirlpool arising within the sea. And that be it a tree or a family member or a thought or an object or whatever it is, it all arises within that. And it's kind of, what you said before around like the ocean can't, it's like the ocean can't, there's no point worrying about a wave or a whirlpool because it's actually impossible for the ocean to do that. That's just another wave or another whirlpool. And I think when you see that it always is coming from you, and there's nothing to do. It just you seem to have less waves or less whirlpools. Not less, but you pay less attention to them and then they become I suppose what you said earlier, like you become less bothered by the waves and whirlpools, and you just go back to putting your attention somewhere else.
Or gift, dude. Love the way you articulated that. So beautifully put. Yeah, when you start to see life for what it is, it's not that you, I don't know, it's like the battle stops, the fight stops, the war ends. You stop necessarily needing to fight your experience. There's an allowance that emerges. Well, I'm allowed, not in so many words, but I'm allowed to feel. I'm allowed to have this experience. I'm allowed to have that experience. There's no wrong experience. And when you start to release your control over your experience, naturally you tend to have more beautiful experiences, because it's only fear that's keeping us holding on tight. And I love what you said. There's nothing to do. There is absolutely nothing to do. Yep. We're already that perfection that we're seeking. We are already source. We always were. We're already spiritual, whatever that means. We're already infinite. We're already creator. We're already magical. We're already perfect. We just have the capacity within the infinite to pretend we're not. So yeah, what Dan said.
Yeah, and I like that you said something about it's sometimes I can't remember your words, so I nearly fell asleep with Lucy, so I'm a bit out of it. But sometimes there's another, it's always going to be another wave or another whirlpool, but it looks like something else sometimes. It feels like something else sometimes, but it's always going to be something emerging from the ocean. And I think knowing that is really helpful, because some of the waves and some of the whirlpools are going to look so real and so intense that they want to pull you in. But knowing, just having even in the midst of it, just knowing or questioning it slightly is helpful, because I think we're all going to feel taken down by our own mind sometimes and totally lost. But knowing that that isn't who we are is a really helpful thing. But it is hard to put into words what happens, because you're still here as a human being, living, having experiences, likes and dislikes.
Experience.
Like, I was having good conversations with someone today, and just this idea of needing to be something, needing to show up in a certain way, and not seeing those as waves. Like, yeah, but with this person, I need to be like that, because otherwise, and like, we complicate everything. But it's nice, I think, when it comes back down to something so simple of it's all coming from the same source. But I think there's something helpful around the principles that it seems to allow the comings and goings of your mind. It's seen for what it is. You have way more peace as a being here. Before knowing this, I used to live in so much turmoil because I believed everything that came into my mind, and I got lost in it all and I spent a long time trying to figure out whether it was, wisdom or source, or whether it was personal thinking and all of that early on. But it's been nice to just see it's all of the content is coming from the same place. Some of it serves me well and some of it doesn't. And we get to have a feel and a sense of that. I think that changes with awareness.
And that's a personal thing.
Yeah. Like certain things that I view serve me might to someone else appear like they're not serving them.
And the fluidity of that coming and going. I like what you said, Jen. The scared that the whirlpools will drag us in. Nice analogy, Dan. But if you can imagine yourself like an ocean with a whirlpool, that would be akin to the ocean being afraid that the whirlpool is going to drag it in, going to drag the ocean into the whirlpool. The ocean is terrified of this whirlpool. It's going to get sucked into it, and I don't know how I'm going to get out of that whirlpool. Clearly not realizing that, oh no, the whirlpool is coming from me. I am the whirlpool. I created the whirlpool. The whirlpool only exists because I am here. Well, that's like everything we detest in this world. That's like everything we love. It's like everything we love about ourselves, everything we don't love about ourselves, everything we love about our partners, everything we don't love. It's everything. It's everything we're afraid of. Everything. The only thing mankind has ever feared in the entire existence of mankind is a thought. It's a really big statement, but I'm making it. The only thing you can ever fear is your own thought. Like an ocean being afraid of the whirlpool. Like source being afraid of its creation. Like the clay being afraid of the cup it created, it molded into.
I think as well, what I've seen is that when I look back at times when I've got lost with whirlpools or these things, it's like I actually can laugh. Like, because like the ocean's always fine despite a whirlpool. And I remember you said a few, maybe a month ago, something around like we're always all right, even when we don't think we are. And the amount, if you look, I look back at experiences of times when I didn't think are all right, but I always was. And I suppose you carry that into the next time you misplace that whirlpool again, and you carry it with you, I think.
Awareness.
Yeah.
You become aware of something, you notice something, and that's what Buddhists used to, that was the whole premise of Buddha. Notice, become aware. Just notice. You're mesmerized by your own thought creations, but have you noticed? You're mesmerized by reality, the comings and goings of this world, but have you noticed the divinity within it all? You're mesmerized by the comings and goings of your feelings and your experiences, but have you noticed the divinity within it all? I love that, Dan. And once you become aware of it, like you say, you get to carry it into your next experience. Love that, dude.
remember someone saying once, it's funny that you learn about gravity at quite a young age. You don't keep forgetting it and having to remind yourself of it. It just becomes part of who you are. So, but it's weird with this understanding that in some ways it sort of becomes who you are, but like the not seeing it happens so often and frequently. She just said it seems so obvious when you're in it and seeing it, and then it doesn't. But it's like that noticing and that bouncing back and like the little kind of slight suspicion of it that you wouldn't have had before. But someone I was speaking to today said, I don't think if I go into another relationship, I'm not going to get fooled by like, this is amazing, this is different, it's like no other relationship I've ever been in, and like that initial connection. So I don't think I'm going to get fooled by it again. He said, but I probably am, aren't I? And it was just,
Things we do live and learn, don't we? If we, yeah.
they're saying, but it's happened so many times. He said, I'm a really slow learner.
What we're talking about applies to everybody, even those that we're worrying about.
I remember when we were traveling with a friend and they'd separated from the husband because they'd struggled with alcohol and were literally killing themselves through alcohol. And I don't remember saying it, but apparently we were on this amazing walk, and I said, you've got to remember that he has the same wisdom, the same intelligence built into him that you have within you. And this person said to me, God, that just hit them so hard because they'd thought that they needed to almost save them or rescue them, and they'd stopped seeing that the potential for insight exists within anyone, regardless of whether they're struggling with addiction or. And that kind of freed her up a bit.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget, especially like with kids, with loved ones. To think, if only you could see it this way. If only you could.
But you saying that and then her seeing that allowed that individual, it allowed that her to let go of the reins that she was holding on to so tightly and allow that individual to, rather than be rescued, to find himself, didn't it? Because he now is in a good space, thank God.
I think it's if you see someone that you love struggling, there's something in us that we want to help. We want to. But so often we prevent people learning and prevent people seeing things for themselves and disempower people. So I think there's a place for all of it. Like it's not a. This isn't a prescriptive thing, but
No.
remembering that wherever anyone is, they've got what they need within them, and to speak to that or know that rather than treating someone like they're broken or damaged or lacking in some way.
I always say that's what Sue did for me. Like the lady who introduced me to Sid was Sydney Banks. She was the only therapist I spoke to who just went, anyway, when I'm telling her about all my terrible things happening to me in my life. She's like, anyway, you notice that tree over there? I went, what? She starts talking to me about nature and I start to feel better and I start crying. She said, what are you crying for? I said, you're the first person who's just kind of treated me normally, who's talked common sense and just treated me normally. She went, you're fine. She's the first person who saw me as whole. She saved my life. And her superpower was she loved me and saw me as whole. When she spoke to that, she stopped speaking to me like I was a fucking victim. She treated me like I was whole. She's one of my best friends to this day. Shout out to Sue. Love you, love. You know, people come to us, don't they? And I laughed as I said it, but I don't mean to be disrespectful because I'm not. I know it's like people want to tell us everything, and we listen and we respect their experience. But I've had people who have desperately tried to prove to me that they're broken. You see the little egos getting involved. Oh, fuck, how bad can I make myself sound? Yeah, but you don't understand. Yeah, but you don't understand. Yeah, but you don't understand. Well, I actually understand a lot more than what you actually think I do. I watch them lay it on thick. Some people hate it because I won't entertain the fact that they're broken, that they're damaged. I can't. Why would I do that? I know they're not. I know they're not damaged. I know they're whole. I know they're experiencing a reality that they don't understand. I know they're having an experience, but they don't know what experience is, where it's coming from. The true source. Because it doesn't matter what you present, doesn't matter what you show up as, doesn't matter what you believe about yourself. You're not that. That's not you. That comes and goes. It's a temporary manifestation that can change in a moment. Well, that can't be you. How many times have you changed throughout your life? How many times have you changed today? How many times have you changed on this call? Which was the real you? I encourage everybody to genuinely try and find another source for their experience. Try and find another source. Please. Said, I don't want you to believe a single word we're saying. I want you to be skeptical. I want you to use your own gift of free will. And I want you to look and seek out another possibility for the source of your experience. The source of your reality. Your reality. Genuinely. An experience that could be had without your consciousness being involved. Experience at all that could be had without your consciousness being involved. We don't talk about this stuff because we think we're special in any way. I We talk about this stuff because it's legitimate. It's real. We talk about this stuff because the discovery of it changed our lives for when we have beautiful lives. We have totally unconventional lives, and we have the most wonderful lives. We experience all of it. We don't sit here as experts.
Yeah, we're not immune to any of it.
No. People are looking for an anesthetic to life. What if you never needed one? What if you never got hurt in the first place? But you needed anesthetizing.
When you said earlier, like the different experiences we would have all had today, like the thought of, like Lucia was so excited by the snow. I'm like, oh, this is the worst day for you to be working because you'd love to be out in the snow and make a snowman and stuff. It's like, right, stop being a wuss, get your stuff on. And then we went out there, and my mum and dad are moving, so they've got this big skip, and they'd put the sleds in there, but luckily it hadn't been picked up, so we had the sled back out of the skip. And then like just having the best time with Lucia, and then suddenly being like, whoa, this is probably the last time I'll ever do this in this garden. I've been doing it since I was young. And then I've done it with all my nieces and nephews, and now I've done it with Lucia. Then almost let myself like go into the future and grieve, and then be like, but right now you're doing this with Lucia. And it's like, for whatever reason, I was able to bring my mind back to like, right now you're having a really nice time, stop it. But that's just being here and being alive and loving and losing and grieving. And I don't know, I think if we can see that we're not going to escape experience that we don't like sometimes, but know its source and know that it's not permanent, and know that there's always something else to see. There's unlimited ways to see life, and that will show up. I think it's a really kind thing to know. But it's not, we so often make things into doing life right and doing life wrong. Like, just because I got caught for a moment in a future thought of and of a grief and of a, like, literally it was almost, you said you had your tree surgery, life like flashed before your eyes once.
Yeah.
It was like all the times of being in that sled in that garden doing that, and just, but there's nothing, that's not doing life wrong. That's not, oh, you've missed sight of the fact that, or anything. It was just like this whoosh of emotion and kind of memory, which came with this deep feeling, and then I felt present again with what I was actually doing and being, and it's actually a nice experience to remember all of that stuff and be grateful for it, and be able to talk to Lucia about some of the memories and the fact that that was my sled, and then it had like Ishka's name written on it, which is a 18-year-old cousin. But I know for me a huge shift came when I stopped making this distinction between, I'm seeing the principles in action, I'm doing life right. I'm not seeing them in action, I'm doing life wrong. And I think when that vanished from my experience, that in itself made the times I wasn't seeing it just times I'm not seeing it, and the times that I was seeing it and just in the moment, cool. Like it takes that judgment out, and I think without the judgment, life feels easier and simpler.
It's the only thing you suffer.
But I'm glad I'm not like, oh, it's just my thinking about. I don't have to do that about things. I just get caught in the moment of whatever it is and feel for as long as it's around, and then whatever else bubbles up. And I think with learning, with being able to remember, you don't necessarily entertain the stuff that you know is going to take you down a horrible path for ages. You allow it to come and allow it to go. So I think I used to like jump on it and then like add to it and make it about me, and I think it's less personal again. And it is beautiful, all of it.
We'll call it a night there. Thank you to everybody who, or the two people who brought the topics for tonight. I really appreciate that. Thank you both. Dan and Lou, thank you so much for sharing. Love everything you shared. Dan starting doing this work, thankfully. It's a great man. All right. Cheers, everyone. God bless. If you would like to make a donation, in the description below. Next Monday, we will be community group. So that'll be next Monday. We're back 7 o'clock UK time. If you're watching this in catch up and you wish to join us at some point live, I know some people do email us and ask us about joining live. If you could drop us your telephone number and we could add you to a WhatsApp or Telegram group, that would be great. That just makes our life easier. Then we'd have to try and remember a lot of people to send a link to. But yeah, God bless everyone.
And we have a couple of spaces left on our retreat in February the 6th to the 10th in Sipton, Suffolk. So get in touch if you're interested.
Yep. info@freedomthinking.co.uk. Don't look at our website. It's been utterly destroyed by malware. Excellent. We have no online presence.
By this time next year, we will.
By this time next year, we will, yeah. Right, everyone. God
Thank
bless.
you.
Love
God
you all.
bless.
Very much. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.